Good morning. Today, the Committee on Parole is at a panel here in Baton Rouge. Today's date is Tuesday, April 16th, and today it is now 9:06 as we begin. My name is Jerry Ledoux. I'll be serving as the chairman of today's panel. On the panel today, my colleagues on my left would be Steve Prater. To my right is Pete Freeman. Would the staff here at headquarters introduce yourself?
Jason, Shamara Washington,
Francis Abbott, Win Martin.
We are hearing offenders right now at Dixon Correctional Institute. And would the staff there introduce yourself?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, board. Good to see you. Dusty Bickham, Warden.
Charles Russ, classifications.
Donald Cavalier, classification manager.
Ashley Bradley, records.
Alvin King, reentry.
Jamie DeBall, mental health.
That's it.
Thank you. At this point, I'd like for you, sir, to introduce yourself and provide your DSC number for the record.
My name is Giovanni HIGHSTREET, and my DLC number is 506-411.
All right, let me explain the process that we're going to follow today. I'm going to read some information from the file and ask you to verify it. And then we're going to do our parole interview. Your case has been assigned to Mr. Prater, so he's going to take the lead on the interview. After that, we're going to allow some public input and comment. And then we will allow you to make a statement, and then we will be voting. So let me see if we can go through your information. Mr. Giovanni HIGHSTREET, you're a first-class offender. You're currently serving a 40-year sentence on the crime of manslaughter. You have a parole eligibility date of October 17th, 2024, full-term date of 10/18/2044. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. At this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Prater to begin our questioning.
Good morning, Mr. HIGHSTREET.
Morning.
Okay, I want to go over just a few facts so that I make sure that I understand what's going on here. On October the 17th of 2004, roughly 20 years ago, you stabbed Esmeralda Valdez. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I noticed in reading the report that there were a number of other cut marks and bruises and signs of abuse on her. Did those come from you also?
Yes, sir. We was arguing and fighting at the time.
Okay, and then you were charged originally with second degree, but you pled to a reduced charge of manslaughter, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Every time.
Go ahead. So,
against the advice of my lawyer, I took a plea of manslaughter because every time we went to court, it kept getting postponed and postponed. My family and her family would argue over the child, so I just wanted to finish, to get it over with.
okay. All right. And I noticed also that I believe it was in 1999. Also, you were charged with domestic violence. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
But that charge was ultimately released or dismissed.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that was the same lady had complained on you roughly 5 years earlier, correct?
Yes.
And y'all lived together, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. On that domestic, how much, I guess what in my mind, and I know that you don't have to answer this because I can't prove it or disprove it, but between 99 and 2004, the number of times that there were problems when she may have been abused or mistreated, and I was just curious about that. Did y'all have an ongoing problems with your relationship?
Not really ongoing. It was just like spur of the moment stuff, I guess.
Okay. All right, so you served roughly half of your sentence at this point, and all right, I noticed that the DA and the sheriff and a number of victims want to keep you in jail, and I think some of them are going to speak here in a few minutes. Let's see. And the other thing that concerned me was the length of time when she was still alive, but you didn't call for an ambulance or anything like that for a couple of hours. Why?
Shock, I guess. Couldn't believe it actually happened.
Okay. Okay, that's all the questions I have. But one more thing. I did notice that you have gotten your high school diploma. I couldn't find but one write-up, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Have you been written up a lot? Is that correct, Warden?
Yes, one time he has,
Okay.
it wasn't here, a different facility, but that's in his record, yes.
Okay, and you've had many certificates and classes and courses that you've taken, and I want to congratulate you on trying to make yourself a better person while you've been incarcerated. So I want to tell you, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Mr. Furman?
Okay, did y'all have any children together? I thought I heard you mention that at the beginning.
Yes, sir. One daughter.
One daughter, how old is she?
Now she's 22. At the
Did
time,
she have any contact with you?
we've communicated twice over email.
So you don't have any personal contact? Okay,
No.
all right. That's all the questions I have. Who's in the custody of the child in right now?
The grandmother.
Okay, thank you.
Warden Bickham, would you like to make a statement right now on this offender?
Yes, ma'am, his record pretty much speaks for itself. He's had that one write-up. He is a trustee and a proud member here, but that's really the rest of his record speaks for itself.
The one write-up kind of concerns me because you were at the state police barracks. Is that correct, Mr.?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
And that's considered the cream of the crop right there.
Yes.
You were involved in an altercation and removed from that location.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have any kind of punishment other than being removed from that facility?
No,
Any
ma'am.
loss of time or anything?
No.
The other,
Well, you broke
they-
up.
oh,
That's not accurate. You did have lots of good time.
Oh, yes. I couldn't understand what you're just breaking up a little.
a person involved in that altercation with you, were they removed from the barracks as well?
Yes, ma'am.
So you both were removed?
Yes, ma'am. It's no tolerance. No tolerance. So everybody was removed that had something to do with it.
Today we have several members of the victim's family who are here in opposition. I'm going to read their names. Yeah, I'll go first, Pearl.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, we'll go to Carrie Myers then. Carrie is with the Parole Project, and they are in support and following this case. So Mr. Myers, if you'll introduce yourself and provide the information you wish.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Carrie Myers with Louisiana Parole Project. We're here in support of Mr. HIGHSTREET. We believe that looking at his record, he has demonstrated remorse and rehabilitation. He has worked very hard during this 20 years of incarceration. What we know is as people reach his age and display the type of records that he has, they're very unlikely to reoffend. Should he be released and come to Parole Project, while in our program, first thing he'll have is an assessment through our social worker, and she will assess for any recommended treatments or programs. Not that in this case that's necessarily relevant, but that's one of the first things that'll happen. He will also, 20 years in prison is away from society, is certainly a different time, different culture that he'll be returning to. we will provide him with that necessary support and reentry services. We'll make sure he's connected to his health care. We'll make sure he's going to be tutored and mentored in technology, in finance. We'll make sure he understands social norms and goal setting. Parole Project will give him the full complement of our services while he's in residence with us. Once he leaves us, he does have a stable residential plan with his mother. And so we ask this board to just consider all the factors here. His record of rehabilitation, his conduct record while incarcerated, and grant his parole today.
Okay. I do have one question, Mr. Myers. How long have you been involved with Mr. Highstreet, evaluating him for placement program?
For the last 5 months.
5 months. Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Myers? At this time, thank you so much, Mr. Myers, for your input. At this time, we'll go ahead and I'm going to list the members of the family in opposition to parole today, and we will allow 3 of them to make a short statement, 3 minutes or less. So today we have Anthony Rodriguez, the victim's brother, Dora Valdez, victim's mother, Annalise Highstreet, the victim's daughter, Francisca Valles, the victim's brother, Maria Rodriguez, the victim's son-in-law, or daughter-in-law, yes. No. Gabriela Garcia, family member, Ruby Valdez, sister, Lilybeth Rodriguez, sister, and Selena Sanez, the victim's sister-in-law. We're going to go ahead and ask Dora Valdez to speak first. Ma'am, if you'll just go to the podium.
This is the one. Dear members of the Parole Board, I'm the bereaved mother who has been on the long road of debilitating with daughter Esmeralda Valdez being tragically taken. As you read this, I pray you understand that losing your child is inexplicable heartbreak, tragedy that should not happen to any mother. No mother deserves to suffer this way. It is difficult to put into words how the weight of all it has been so suffocating, soul-crushing, devastating, and earth-shattering in every way possible. There is no single day that goes by when my daughter is not in my mind. I cry myself to sleep almost every night because of how much I miss her and long to see her face or hear her voice again. I would trade it all for just one more moment with my daughter. If I could give every ounce of me to save every ounce of her, 1,000 times over. No matter how many years blur over my shoulder, there is not a single day that passes by that I'm not missing my daughter. I have prayed for 19 years and I was willed. This monster stripped away my self-worth layer by layer until there was nothing left but an empty shell. The self that existed once before no longer exists. He succeeded in making any mother's worst nightmare come true to bear the unbearable. My days are filled with anguish and sorrow because I have not learned to live with the pain, the emptiness, and the suffering it has caused me. Life without my daughter has become stagnant. I have struggled with this sadness. I don't know existed. My world has been turned upside down. It's hard to see clearly sometimes because of the tears, the anger, the frustration, and the depression. I now suffer from panic attack because of the fear and anxiety this man has inflicted with me. I am still haunted by that dreadful agonizing phone call that sent me to the emergency room after being told that my daughter was gone. There are days when I still feel paralyzed. I began to feel the same sickening come over me while opening the letter of the parole hearing. My daughter, Esmeralda, was a beautiful soul who trusted without a question and loved without reservation. She was open, honest, and alive, but not anymore. Her death was not quick and painful. It was agonizing, slow, and merciless. She did not just pass away, she was murdered, untwistedly beaten by the man she loved, threatened by his words, anger, and rage. She endured his cruelty, abuse, and manipulation. killed by an evil and she couldn't see or comprehend it. Losing my daughter was by far the hardest thing I had ever experienced. The second hardest was raising my granddaughter, knowing that one day I would need to explain to her that person responsible for mom not coming to home was because of her own father had done. I tried saving my daughter's home by paying the mortgage on it for an entire year after she passed. My hope was this to get sold and the proceeds can be left to my granddaughter, Annalise. Unfortunately, the defendant refused to sign over his half of the house so that this daughter can be benefited. As a result of this, I eventually had to give up paying on it and let go of the financial impact it was causing. Given that my daughter's gonna have the luxury to come back home, I don't feel that this man should be given the luxury to return to his home early either. It is just not fair or justifiable. Therefore, I am against the parole and protesting the offender early release. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I trust that the parole board will prioritize the safety and well-being of the community in reaching just an informed decision. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know that's difficult. We appreciate your words. Now we're going to ask on Alexis High Street to speak and keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Alexis High Street. I have my Amber in here in security. I'm Esmeralda, the victim's surviving daughter. I wish I could have gotten the opportunity to develop a description of my mother, but I was never given the possibility due to the heinous crime occurred. To my knowledge, my mother was filled with an overflow of selflessness, benevolence, and love. Sorry. My mother would have given anyone close to her the shirt off her back without thought. As she entered the room, she immediately radiated with a positive light. Throughout the agonizing years of my youth, I have prayed every day that maybe I might wake up one day with a normal childhood. Following the crimes of Giovanni, I was a helpless child left behind without parents at the age of 2 years old. I was forced to experience deep loneliness as I lived my life without a nurturing mother. Thankfully, my mother imparted a loving family, and the community of this family raised me on their own. My grandmother was my primary caretaker throughout the development of my life. My mother was considered the matriarch of the family, and unfortunately, this tragedy severed relations and it's a tradition that has not eased to this day. Given the intensity of this crime, I do not think Giovanni deserves parole. If the offender is released, I fear for the safety of me and my family. He took my mother's short life and attempted to harm, if not murder her siblings. How can I feel safe and forgiving around a world of hurt created into your mom's bare hands? This tragedy was so premeditated, and he had a prior history of domestic violence with my mother and in previous significant others. This criminal's possibility of parole is for family and friends to relive the most painful time of our lives. And the thought that my mother's murderer can walk free is gut-wrenching. I'm aware that his mother lives close to my permanent residence, which is also my grandmother's home. This adds another layer of fear because he is all of where I live. Even though he is my father, I will not be able to recognize him if he approached me. I've had no contact with him for 20 years. In the 2 years that I did, I never even spoke my first words. So I've never been in contact with him, maybe from like my sister or someone from afar, but I never directly spoke to him. And no matter how many years have passed, I'm reminded every day that I experienced a child's worst nightmare growing up without parents. I simply despise my legal last name because it derives from this evil intentioned man. I'm forced to deal with the agony every day, and there's not a day that goes by that I don't long for a mother present during my life, especially during important milestones that a normal child would have their parents attend. My mom and I were both robbed of a fulfilling life, and it deeply upsets me when I even begin to think that she had to endure before leaving this world. As the voice of my mother, I come forward today to beg for the denial of early release as long as the law allows. She no longer has a life on earth, but I aspire to continue her legacy in our family and the community. Releasing this offender will put every single living at risk, and I truly will not feel safe if he is given freedom. My mother will never get the opportunity to live her life again, so I should be. I wish I was fortunate enough to say goodbye. or at least know how it feels to embrace a mother's arms, at least once. I do not believe that we're justified if there is another chance given in life, but my mother is not fortunate enough for that second chance. Therefore, I'm strongly opposed to the offenders.
Thank you very much. The final person speaking will be, Ruby Valdez.
Good morning. I'm writing to express. My name is Ruby Valdez. I am a victim of Mr. High Street's heinous acts committed on October 17, 2004. I am the sister of the deceased Esmeralda Valdez, whose life was cut short at the age of 32. Not only did he take a life, a beautiful soul that day, but he took away a sister, a daughter, a mom, an aunt, a mentor, a pillar to her family and community. No matter how many stories we share about my sister and her daughter and Alexis, who was robbed of her mother at the young age of 2, her daughter will never get to experience a hug from her mom. See her face, her smiles, hear her say, "I love you," take her to prom, dress shopping, plan a wedding, or get to experience any milestone in her life with her mom. Why? Because she was struck to that the day the offender decided to commit this horrific crime. Still today, I am haunted and traumatized by what he did. In addition to taking her life that day, he planned to take my life as well. He was an adult who knew exactly what he was doing. He bragged about how my mother would soon pay during a family party the day before. This was not an act of the heat of the moment. This was all premeditated. He even said his goodbye to his 2-year-old daughter that afternoon, letting her know that he would not be seeing her in a long time. No one had a clue of why he was putting up a show suddenly. My sister was murdered by a man at 4 a.m. At 8 a.m., 4 hours later, I received a phone call from him calmly asking me to come over because he claimed that my sister wanted to talk to me. And he wanted me to come over because he said that she wanted to chat with me. Showing absolutely no remorse of what he had done, he then continued to call every 30 minutes after until he successfully lured me into such a violent, gruesome sight. Not only had I walked into the lion's den to face a man that had been completely overtaken by pure evil, but I saw what no person should ever have to witness or experience in their life. I saw the lifeless body of an unrecognizable sister lying there helpless. I must relive that eerie day over and over in my head because no matter what I do, I hope I think nothing has succeeded in removing the horrid scene out of my head. This is not the first time that he had hurt her. He had struck her badly once before after her face was bruised due to the offender not being able to control his short temper. He has had a history of acts of violence in previous relationships with the mother of his older kids as well. As a result of losing my sister that day, the pillar to our family, the glue that once held this family together, this has caused my family to come crumbling down. We are all still broken, shattered to pieces, and have all scattered throughout the country since she has been gone. He tore this family apart. This tragedy has affected us in every aspect, spiritually, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Even on days where we can craft up a smile, the pain is just beneath the surface. We will not wake up one day with everything okay and life back to normal. They say time heals all wounds, but yet I've yet to know what that feels like. I have carried this pain each day ever since. I am here today to protest to fight for my sister because she no longer is here to have a voice in this. She is not here to tell you what pain she has endured, the pain she endured that night, and what suffering she underwent during those last moments of her life. She's not coming back. And for all these reasons, I firmly believe that it is imperative for an inmate to serve his full extent sentence and not be granted early release. Releasing him at this time would just impose a significant risk for the safety of my family and would not be at best interest for the community. I'm requesting that the next year be delayed as long as the law allows. He has been
Ms. Ruby,
given a few years to pay for his crime, but the victim's family and loved ones were given a life sentence.
Thank you so much. Mr. High Street, it's appropriate at this time that you be allowed to make a statement to the board prior to the decision being made.
No, ma'am.
He said he's not making a statement.
No, ma'am. I don't have a statement.
Okay. So today we interviewed you, Mr. High Street. We have heard from the Parole Project. We've heard from your offenders. At this time, I believe, without any further statement from you, that it's time to vote. We're going to go to Mr. Prater first.
Okay. Because of the victim statements, because of a number of things, the crime, how it's committed, length of time it took to call, anyone call the ambulance or anything like that. In fact, you've had a reduced charge, and the fact that you just recently got into, I say recently, in the last couple of years, gotten into a little bit of a problem there and removed from the barracks, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And because of all those reasons, but mainly because of the impact you've had on the 9 people I'm looking at right here, I vote to deny.
Mr. Furman.
Okay, due to the strong victim opposition, and you have not, in my opinion, served enough time for this offense, only serving half of your time, so my vote is to deny.
Sir, I concur with my colleagues today. Your vote your parole has been denied. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Over there to the left. Show him where it's at. Right there.
All right. Good morning. This is the Louisiana Committee on Parole. Today, I'm chairing the panel. My name is Jerry Ledoux. To my left is Steve Kreider. To my right is Pete Freeman. We're hearing offenders at Dixon Correctional Facility, and thank you, Warden Vic, for being here. Sir, would you please introduce yourself? Give us your DOC number.
Good morning. My name is JABARI Smith, DOC number 396627.
Okay, let me explain the process. I'm going to read some information from you, the file, and have you confirm it. And then we're going to be asking you some questions. After that, we will allow those in support of you to make their statement. And then we will hear from you, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So, Mr. Jabari Smith, you're a fourth class offender. You're currently serving a 40-year sentence for habitual with the intent to distribute heroin. You have a parole eligibility date of October 25th, 2024, and a full term date of October 25th, 2054. Does that sound correct?
Yes.
You're in possession with intent to distribute heroin.
I'm found guilty by jury of possession, simple possession.
You're serving time for habitual possession with intent for heroin right now.
Okay. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you were enhanced sentencing for the habitual.
Okay.
So I'm going to take the lead today on asking you some questions. So are you 51 years old?
I make 51 this year, November 5th.
Okay, so 51 years old. And how long have you been serving for this current incarceration?
About 9.5.
9.5 of the 40. Okay. When did you find out you were parole eligible?
About a year ago.
A year ago. Okay. Right. In February of 2023. You found out. Prior to that, you had quite a few write-ups, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I did.
Your last write-up was just like 2 months before you found out you were parole eligible. Did that have any impact on your behavior while you've been in prison?
Yes, it did. At the present time that I was doing time, I felt hopeless, like I didn't have any chance of probably not seeing my family again, not being able to get home, and I just was in a dark place at that time.
Okay. Call me naive, but how do you get write-ups for intoxication? You had at least 8 write-ups for intoxication while you were in. What kind of substance were you intoxicated with?
Mojo.
Okay. When I reviewed your record, most of the programs that you took were in 2012 when you were in previously, in 2012. Yeah, you took a lot of classes. You just started police in January. Have you finished that?
Yes, I finished today.
Today, okay. So you gave me a funny look when I said that you hadn't taken classes since 2012. Tell me, I know in 2016 you took some.
Yes.
So what have you taken?
I have Narcotics Anonymous that I finished in March 19th of 24. I have Nurturing Parenting that I finished in February of 24. I have Tapuko, The Only Person You Cheat Is You in 2023. I have Getting Motivated to Change that I took in January of 23. I have Cage of Rage that I also took in 2022. I have Recovery Dynamics I took in 18. Relapse Prevention that I took in 18. Substance Abuse I took in 18. Drug Dealers Anonymous I also took in 18. And Living in Balance, moving on from life of addiction that I also took in 16.
Okay, thank you. I must not have an updated list of your
Yes.
of your classes. I read in your report that you're being fitted for a prosthesis. Do you
Yes,
want to
ma'am.
talk about that?
Yes, man, I'm a right leg amputee that I had my leg amputated while at work in 92. And yes, I'm trying to get reacclimated with a prosthesis.
All right. So you have a residence plan, it looks like. Who would you be living with if you happen to make parole today?
My daughter.
And how many times has your daughter visited you there at Dixon?
I really didn't want anybody to come see me while I was incarcerated because I didn't want my family to see me in a predicament like this because at the time I didn't think that I'd ever be re-released.
So you really haven't had much of a relationship with your daughter?
Yes, I have. I had a relationship with her. I talked to her on the phone, but I have grandkids that I didn't want to be visiting, seeing me in prison.
I see. Okay. All right. At this point, I'd like to ask if either of my colleagues have any questions they would like to ask.
Questions?
Huh?
I have questions.
Okay. Mr. Freeman?
Okay, Mr. Smith, I see where in 22 you had a write-up of contraband. What was the contraband?
It was a hand sharpened metal object, mainly a ice pick, knife.
What you was doing with that? Somebody was messing with you?
It was just a foolish mistake that I had a weapon that felt that I thought that I needed protection, which I didn't, which turned into kind of a blessing in disguise that I did catch a write-up for it, because at that time, after being incarcerated, put in a block, it changed my life forever.
Why should I think about letting you loose? It's obvious you have a bad drug problem and you couldn't shake it in prison. What's gonna make you think that you're gonna shake it outside of prison?
I'm putting the tools that I've gotten in prison into play with my regular everyday life. I've been taking NA and AA classes, learning the 12-step program, and I do have a family support, and there's no such thing as I'm having a victimless crime since I had a drug offense. My family has been part of the victims that I have affected with me being gone, and I really, really, really have the desire to change and not be the person that I once was.
Okay, I have no further questions.
Mr. Prater?
Yes, sir. Did you commit all the crimes that you've committed because life has been so hard on you?
I was just trying to drown it all out, not remember. Instead of facing everything head on, I tried to just find an escape. And I realized that now that I didn't find an escape because those problems were still there, uh, I've learned to cope with it and find other solutions other than getting high. But yes, at that point in time, yes, I did.
Okay, another question. Laws are just a way to keep poor people down. Is that an accurate statement?
No, laws are put in place because there are people who break rules.
Okay. I was reading some of your questions and some of the strange answers because you, according to your scores and all, you have an antisocial personality and or some traits to it, antisocial thinking. And so I was just trying to get some of those straight in my mind. All right, that's all the questions.
At this point, we will call on Mr. Tyrone Smith, who is with the First 72 program, who would like to speak in support of you. Mr. Smith, there you are. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks for allowing me to speak on behalf of Mr. Jabari. I'm one of the co-founders of the organization of First 72 Plus, where we help guys to try to make a better transition into society once they're released. And I believe Mr. Jabari would be a great fit for our program. Like himself, I was addicted to drugs, and I've been clean almost 30 years now. And so even with our program that we have, one of the programs that we have is called a 9-step to staying free. In this program here, we have almost like 20 to 30 men every Wednesday come here trying to maintain their sobriety and staying clean and sober. And they're not even court ordered to come here. And so with Mr. Jabari, when he come here, he'll be teaching some of the same classes that they have in the prison, like thinking for change, decision making, responding versus reacting, who moved my cheese, framing possibilities, and building the bridge as you walk it. Some of these classes that we'll be introducing to him if he is granted his parole, and another program, Hater, where he'll be going for, because he reaching out for help for his addiction, and this program here will definitely help him with the help on the 72 plus. And when he get out, we have his back from the start to the finish. From the time he get out to the staying out, we'll hook him up. We'll have him introduce him to a coach that's a former incarcerated person. Will lead and guide him. So when he having those rough times and trying to make decisions, he'll have somebody that he can call on at any given time to help him out. So we just asking that you just give him another chance, because I see he have a lot of conviction, but they didn't have programs in place when he was all those other times that he had those convictions. But now we have a program that's going to go be with him hand in hand every step of the way if you all grant him his parole. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. We also have some members of your family today at Dixon that would like to speak in support. First of all, we'll ask that your daughter wants to speak, Ms. Bridges.
Ms. Bridges.
You have about 3 minutes, if you could keep it to about 3 minutes. Okay, introduce yourself. Go ahead.
Okay, good morning. I'm Jabari Bridges. I'm the daughter of Jabari Smith, and I want to speak on behalf of, although those convictions that you guys see on paper, to be the daughter of Jabari Smith, I see past those convictions. I see past those mistakes. And although he has made mistakes in the past, he still has raised a wonderful daughter, which is myself, who's never been in trouble, has never been in any type of trouble at all. College graduate, 2 kids. So even though he has made, mistakes in the past, he's always been someone for me, someone who I do need desperately, someone who's always been there for me. And although, he's been here, our relationship never changed. The things that he may have done or, been convicted of, those things never changed our relationship. And I am asking that you guys give him another chance. And because now I am an adult, I take responsibility of some of the actions and things that he will be doing as a free man.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bridges. Next we'll hear from Ms. Smith, Myrna Smith, the mother.
Thank you. Good morning. You can hear me? Okay. Yes, I am the mother of JABARI Smith. And maybe through life, when I thought I was doing everything right, because I was a single mother, but I did the best that I can. JABARI is all that I have. We all have children. We all have different feelings for our children. But the one and only child was a lonely child. And I asked, I'm not contradicting nobody's religion, but I asked in Jesus' name that you could give my child another chance at life. My health has failed me over the years since he's been gone. I don't have that much longer left, and I know this. I'm on oxygen 24/7. And I must say one more time, Jesus' name, and I plead, let my baby go. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Smith. I also want to make note for the record that you have several other people in support today. You have your cousin Raquel Green, Dewan Green cousin, Lexi Lopez friend, Ashley Williams friend, and James Watson, your stepfather. So thank you. Part of the hearing. At this time, I'm going to ask Warden Bickham, do you have any comments about this offender?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, board again. Thank you for y'all's time. Jabari, and y'all have kind of gone through it pretty good. Just to touch back on his last write-up was in, I think 22, if I'm looking at here. Yeah, 22. But he does seem to be on a better trajectory since then. I am proud of what he's done since that write-up. So he has been doing better. He's done some good programming stuff. I think he's on the right track at the moment. I don't know if he's made it there yet, but he's definitely on the right track, heading the right direction. I want to acknowledge that for him, but that's all.
Thank you very much. Jabari, at this point, I want you to speak for yourself and talk to the board and tell why you think we should parole you today.
I believe that I would thrive with a second chance at life. I'm not that person that I once was. I own up and take responsibility for the actions that I have and that I have. I had a drug addiction in the past that I am working on. I'll probably be an addict for the rest of my life, but now I understand that if I want to live a free life, I have to put that behind me. I'm not the person that I once was. And I'd asked the board to just give me the opportunity to prove that I can be a productive citizen.
I have some questions that I need some information I need to clarify with the staff. I'd like to go into executive session. Would you make a motion? And Mr. Prater seconds. So we have all Steve Prater.
Yes.
Steve Freeman.
Yes.
Gerald. Yeah. We'll be back in just a moment. I have some information to clarify, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Muted, Mr. Cavalier.
Thank you so much for allowing us to take that break. There's been a lot of changes in some programming, and I wanted to ask a few questions about some programming. So we have questioned you, and you've given us your input, and we've heard from your supporters. It's time to vote, and I'm going to start our voting. Mr. Smith, I think you're making great progress. And I apologize for not knowing how to read your educational class information. I understand that better now. So I do acknowledge you've had some good programming. Mr. Smith, I really believe that you need a little bit more intensive training on narcotics in your addiction. I cannot, I'm going to deny your parole today, but what I'm going to do, my vote is to deny, is to ask Warden to send you to the Steve Boyle program to get some very intensive narcotic training. And that's up to the facility there. Mr. Prater, your vote?
My vote's to deny for a number of reasons, and I just don't think that he's learned the rules for everybody. And, I really would like to see, I'd like to see him follow the rules that everybody else has to follow. I noticed at two different times that, you know, he's been charged with firearms. One time with aggravated battery, he shooting somebody or hitting somebody with a gun. And, those things are frankly forbidden. He's been tried for parole or probation twice and he got revoked. So he's got a history of antisocial behavior that he doesn't follow the rules. And until that can be proven that he can follow the rules, I think the deal will be denied.
All right, and Mr. Freeman.
Okay, you know, I agree with my, colleagues and, I also recommend to Steve Hall, which we will put in that recommendation from up here forward. Cause we can get them in easier. You go there, you sit there on the first row, you learn, you stay right up free for the next, I think what he can reapply in 2 years or a year and a half.
Something like that.
And, you know, if you do all of that, I think you'll have a chance next time, but you gotta prove to us that you can stay in jail and not get written up. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So, today, your parole has been denied, Mr. Smith. We thank your family and facility there. This, closes out our hearings there at Dixon. And we appreciate all of your support there. Thank you so much.
All right, thank y'all. Y'all have a great day. Have a blessed one.
Good morning. The parole committee is going to continue our hearings. We've changed locations. We are now hearing at the State Police Barracks. Today on the panels, I'm Jerry Ledoux, chairing. To my left is Steve Prater. To my right is Pete Freeman. Who do we have there at Barracks? Could you introduce yourself?
My name is Bobby Williams.
Let's go with staff first.
Go ahead.
Lisa Praisall with classification.
Captain Pat Washington.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
What we're going to do is I'm going to ask you some questions and you're going to verify the information, Mr. Williams, and then we're going to ask you some questions. After that, we will allow your supporters to make some statements, and then we'll allow you to make a final statement to the board prior to hearing. So please state your name and your DOC number.
Bobby Williams, 422-427.
Okay. Mr. Williams, I see that you are a third-class offender. You're currently serving a 50-year sentence. You were convicted of attempted second-degree murder and accessory with for possession of cocaine. Your parole eligibility date is September 22nd, 2024. You have a good time date today of June 2nd, 2040, and a full term date of October 26th, 2053. Is that information correct according to your understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So at this time, we're going to ask, Mr. Freeman is going to take the lead in asking you some questions, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Williams, good morning.
How you doing?
First off, Mr. Williams, how old are you?
47.
What is your educational level?
1 year of college.
Okay, did you get your GED in prison or before you got that?
I got a high school diploma.
Okay, where get that from?
Peabody Magnet High School.
Okay, and how long have you been in prison on this charge?
20 years, sir.
Okay, had you ever served time before that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how long you served before that and what was the charge?
18 months, possession of hydrocodone.
Okay, did you ever leave parish jail or did you go to a state institution?
I stayed in parish jail as a trustee.
All right. Tell me a little bit about what went on. I mean, I read the arrest report. I mean, did this start out as a drug deal or was this a robbery from the get-go?
First, I'd like to say I take full responsibility of what happened that night. And it started out as a drug deal, sir. And then me and Mr. Green had got into an argument. And I had shot him.
So you admit that you did do the shooting. That's good.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how much money did you get out the deal? Do you remember?
I had made $500 because that was my cocaine that they were selling.
Right, right. So you were a drug dealer or a drug user?
Both, Mr. Freeman.
Okay. And have you ever got any treatment for your drug problem, addiction?
One time on the street, Mr. Freeman.
Okay. How long was that program?
I did an outpatient at Red River for 28 days.
Okay, I see you, you had a probation out of Texas,
Yes, sir.
and you completed that one
No, sir, that's why, they ran it in with,
with this time.
no, with the other charge, and, I did it then.
Oh, okay. So how many times you been on supervision?
Twice. Once on probation and once on, parole.
Okay, so looking at law enforcement, let's see what law enforcement had to say. You got no comment from the judge. The DA is opposed. The sheriff is opposed. The offender's family is unopposed. That's unusual. No, that's your family. That's unopposed. Your step's father, Alfred Rochelle. And I think he's here today, Mr. Rochelle. Okay. And classes. When was the last class you took?
I'm currently taking one now, but I had just finished anger management again. I had took it twice. Because I knew I had to work on my anger, because that was the cause of the root of the incident that night for Mr. Green.
What did lead to the drug deal going bad? What happened?
But me and Mr. Green had started arguing. He had come out the house, and me and him had, and I believe I had startled him, sir. And we started arguing and passing words. And due to my anger and not understanding, we blew everything out of proportion. And then we started fighting and tussling. And I had pulled my gun out and shot him.
Was there some discussion as to the product wasn't good?
No, sir. It was because I believe I had startled him when he come to the side of the house. I was on the side of the house using the restroom. I had got out because we was in a little country town, and I just got out to use the restroom.
We do have some victim impact statements. And one of them, they wanted it to remain confidential, but they are against. But they said if you did get out, they want you to have no contact with the family if you did get out, but that they are against it. Okay. That's like just only comment. All right. And you're right, up to disciplinary history. I saw in 2015, you had 2 intoxications. What were you intoxicated on?
Really, Mojo, sir.
Okay. And what was your rule violation 28? What was that?
That was we was in the cell block, and it was a work offense. We had went to the work the day before. And we came in and the showers were broken. So we had to go to work the next day. And I had refused to go to work until I had showered. I wound up going the second half though, after I showered.
Is that worth it? Or you wish you'd have took that?
I really wish I would have just went on to work, sir. I could have took a bath and
yeah. How'd you got to think of what's best? Okay. Where you could reside at?
In Alexandria, Louisiana, with my sister and my stepfather.
Okay. And where will you be working at?
I have a few people that have promised me a job at Plywood Supply in Chopin, Louisiana. And I currently have, if I am released, I'll be working on getting my TWIC card, because I have 2 cousins that work offshore, and they're willing to get me hired on with them. And I have a friend working on the railroad, sir.
Okay. Okay, I have no further questions.
Mr. Prater, do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Okay,
Oh, I have one.
okay.
What is your sobriety plan when you get out? How are you gonna remain sober?
I already took the resources to go to rehab. I had already talked to a guy. He's one of my letter of support. He runs a mobile crisis team in Alexandria, Louisiana, and I had already taken the opportunity to go on and apply. If I am granted, he will help me work on my mental health, my anger management, and my substance abuse. And I've been working on it because I'm an AA, NA, and I'm a facilitator there. Because I knew I had to work within myself.
Okay.
Okay.
Chairman.
We'd like to now go by Zoom to Carrie Myers, who's with the Louisiana Parole Project. Mr. Myers, would you like to make a statement to the board?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Kerry Myers with Louisiana Parole Project. We've been working with Mr. Williams for the past several months. We've been impressed by several things. One, his job. He works at the airport for state police. That's a highly trusted position, maybe one of the most highly trusted positions you can have there at the state police barracks. He is an AA&A facilitator. He has continually worked on his sobriety. He has completed living in balance and anger management, as you heard twice. He's got a plan, a transition plan. One of the things that will happen, though, first, he will get an evaluation from our social worker, and we'll coordinate with his providers in Alexandria with any recommendations that come from that. We're prepared to offer him the full complement of transitional services, from technology to social norms, to goal setting, to financial management and planning. We understand, again, fully that 20 years is a long time, and the ability to have a solid transition with the mentorship and the coaching that Parole Project can provide. We know that the success that we've had in our program is based in part on who comes into our program. And we in screening Mr. Williams, we feel like he's an excellent candidate. So we asked this board to consider all this in their decision today.
Thank you, Mr. Myers. Today we have here at headquarters 4 members of Mr. Williams' family. Read out, there's Alfred Rochelle, the father, Miss Rochelle's sister, and Kirsten Carter, his daughter. They each would like to speak. Oh, excuse me, not the daughter, but the father and sister would like to speak. You can approach the podium, and whichever wants to go first, you can go, Mr. Rochelle. And you have 3 minutes to address us. Okay. Just introduce yourself and address her.
My name is Parole Hearing-April, and I'm Bobby Williams' sister. I'm speaking on behalf of my mom, who's deceased. She passed away last year. I'm speaking on Bobby's behalf because we are deeply regretted for the pain that resulted in this unfortunate incident. We also understand that this tragedy has touched not only our family, but it has become the other family. We ask that you would, at the utmost respect and sincerity, would accept our apology for what has transpired. Bobby has showed us that he has the proactive plan for positive change and contribution in what our family has going. He has committed to stay involved in our group sessions and also to be active in my mentor program. He has shown our family dedication to his healing and his growth. Within our church, Bobby has showed all types of ways that he will participate in the outreach programs that we're offering, in the support through our ministry as well as our spiritual community activities that we have in our area. In the wider part of the community, Bobby and plans to attend, what we call Stop the Violence to help reduce the community violence in Alexandria. He also will be a part of Caring Choices that he already talked about with the substance abuse, mental health to ensure his well-being. As I close, I want to let you know that Bobby has shown me as his sister, from his daughter, his niece, his nephew, the change that he has progressed from the time this has happened to now, this present moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rochelle?
My name is Alfred Rashiel. Bobby's been in my life since he's 5. I started with T-ball, baseball, football, the list goes on and on, being a father figure. And now I have his daughter in my possession, and he's been with me since she was 1 year, since birth. And now I have the access of having his granddaughter, which is my great-granddaughter, which is 2 years old, which is my heart. And speaking on behalf of Bobby and the family, he's been a beacon light, missing in a sense because I have a grandson and a granddaughter who's also of age, who don't call him Uncle Bobby, they call him Bobby. And I keep telling them, that's your uncle. That's my Bobby. So I want to say to the board, he is a person that is believed to will be willing to help the individual, both boys and girls in the community. And he's been a beacon like me because I served in several roles in my community. And my job right now is to stay busy because I miss that young man. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, it would be appropriate, Mr. Williams, for you to have an opportunity to address the board and speak on your own behalf, which you want us to know before a decision would be made.
First, I'd like to thank the board for giving me this opportunity to apologize to Patrick Green's family for the hurt and harm and the pain that I've caused them. And I want to apologize also for the hurt and harm that I've caused my family and the state of Louisiana. I deeply regret that I had hurt Patrick Green's family. I always remember that day at sentencing, his daughter was there. And she should be 20, she's turned 21 this year. And I always thought about it every day since I've been incarcerated this whole 20 years because she's the same age as my daughter. She'll never have her father for her graduation or when she get married or on her birthdays. And I just want to apologize to him for that hurt that I have caused her and that pain. And I have taken the time, the proper classes over my 20 years to get myself straight because I had to get myself within, I had to get myself straight. And the classes that I have taken, they are really working on me. And if I am granted today, I would ask you that I work on my welding trade that I received incarcerated, that I'll be able to pursue it and work out, go to work release and work offshore. And I thank you for allowing me this time to take responsibility for what I have done and to apologize to Patrick Green's family. Thank you.
I'd like to move for executive session.
I have a motion to go into executive session. Do I have a second?
Second.
Could you please call roll?
Steve Carter?
Here, yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Before we go to executive session, Captain, do you have anything you want to say about him, about the inmate?
Yes, sir. Good morning, Madam Chairman, and members of the board. Thank y'all. And I'll be good stewards of your time. Bobby's been here 2 years. And usually with our program, when somebody comes in, they get a job and we put him on the grass crew at headquarters. The entire time Bobby was there, never got a single complaint about it. In fact, they bragged about his work ethic and how they had never seen anybody who could efficiently operate 2 weed eaters at one time. I asked Bobby on several occasions after getting these positive remarks if he wanted a job change. And he said, no, sir, I'm good where I'm at. If something comes along and I'm interested in it, I'll let you know, but I'm good. And he cut grass every day without a single complaint. When the airport job came open, and he asked me for it, and I made sure he got it. And they love him. 2 years, and I've never had anybody say anything negative about Bobby. And I know you can't tell it now because he's as nervous as all get out, but every day he's got a smile on his face. And every day you can count on several things. Bobby's going to get up and he's going to be ready for work before work is ready for him. And when he gets off that bus, he's going straight to that weight pile and he's going to work out. And he's going to let you know if you ain't doing it right. So I appreciate y'all having this board and listening to him, his family. And I completely support him getting this opportunity to transition to the next phase. Thank you, guys.
At this time, with 3 members voting to go into executive session, we'll do so for confidential matters. Okay, thank you. Thank you, for allowing us some time. So Mr. Williams, each of the members are prepared to vote. We're gonna allow Mr. Freeman to vote first since he took the lead. Mr. Freeman.
Okay, Mr. Williams, it's very, very obvious you have a ton of family support, which is great. You have the parole project, which is another great thing. You've done good things since you've been in prison. My only hang-up whatsoever with you is that you've only done 20 years on a 50-year sentence and a life was taken in this offense. But I do want to encourage you, because you get to reapply in 2 years and that'll put you about half your time. And I'll relook at it then and take a more closer look. But my vote today is to deny.
Mr. Prater.
I concur. I just want to give you hope. I want to tell you how much I appreciate that all the work that you've done. Take everything seriously what you've done. I know it's been a lot of work and I know your family is ready to see you. But at some point we have to decide what a person's life is worth. And we have victim opposition, got the mom, saying, how hurt she is, and you got to think about that too. So I'd like to see you again in 2 years. I concur with the denial.
Mr. Williams, not gonna count, but my vote today is to grant parole. I'm charged with evaluating whether your release on parole is going to be a detriment to the state of Louisiana and the safety of the citizens in the place you live. At this point, based on your conduct and programming and your after release plan, I feel like you would be a contributor to our society. I want you to definitely make sure you request a hearing in 2 years. But my vote today was going to be grant, but based on a 2-1 split vote, your parole's been denied. But I don't want you to give up because you've got everything going your way. Okay. So today you have been denied. That concludes our hearing. Thank you, sir, for being with us, officer. That concludes our hearing at the State Barracks, and it also concludes our hearings today. The time is now 10:51, and we're signing off. Thank you.